Hey everybody, I'm Matt Hill. I'm with Knight Energy Services. We're here today to interview Gianni Giannandrea with Committed Water. We got real lucky to find out a new and innovative service and part of our industry that's going to be able to innovate everything we do with produced water and reach out to a whole lot of other sections of industry and everyone's lives. This is Fossil Fuel Fridays, and we're recording so we can get a little bit of information about what they're doing out here. Gianni, thank you for coming out here to do this with us today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
Tell us everything you can about Committed Water. Where did it get started? What was the idea behind it? What are you guys doing with it?
So Committed Water started about 45 days ago. We put together some money with some partners, and we did a partial purchase of a guy named Chuck Horton's company. He had a technology that he brought to market called the AquaCat. The AquaCat is basically a mobile platform that can clean oil field water right now, all the way to the point where you can put it on the ground, as you see behind us. The silly hats are because we're about to get wet, and the water that's coming to us right now is coming out of the backside of the AquaCat, permitted in the state of Oklahoma to be put on the. So the water is contaminant free and permitted within the state.
That's great. Hey guys, this is cleaner than drinking water that just hit us behind us, right?
Yeah.
Tell us more about the technology behind the water, and how is this cleaner than fresh water that we drink?
So drinking water standards right now are somewhere between 200 or 300 parts per million on the total dissolved solid. And the easiest way to describe the system, we're about to get wet again, Matt. You ready?
This is great. Hey guys,
hold on.
We're about to get rained on by the cleanest water that we've ever seen in the oil field. Committed Water, everybody.
All right. So what Committed does is on the far left of the screen, in the big jar there, we have our raw water intake. So that water is coming to us from a multitude of wells going to a disposal system. That water is coming in. It's pretty nasty. It's got suspended solid as well as dissolved solids in it. After it goes through our first trailer, we break the majority of the carbon chains, and we start the process of coagulating and flocculating the water so that we can get those solids out. So that second jar there is the water that's output from trailer 1. It then flows into trailer 2, where we're taking out the rest of the suspended solids.
Okay.
A very small percentage of the dissolved solids have been flocked at that point. And then it goes to our final trailer, which is where it goes through what we're going to call the polishing trailer. And it comes out looking like that fourth jar there. So that fourth jar, you're looking at somewhere on order of magnitude of chlorides in the 8 to 9 range.
8 parts per million.
That's correct. And total dissolved solids.
And drinking water, again, is 200 to 300.
Yeah, correct. Now that's total. That's not just chlorides.
Right.
But that water, the total dissolved solids in that water is somewhere around 30 right now. So that's the output that we're shooting for in the system.
Wow.
And that's why the state of Oklahoma has seen fit to let us put it on the ground.
Yeah.
Essentially take what is right now a substance that is considered a problem within the oil field, and something that we're all trying to fight to reduce through recycling effort, and then trying to avoid disposal, causing different issues like the seismicity problems we had a while back.
For so many people in the oil field, they hear saltwater disposal wells and not really sure what that means to them. And that's what it is, everybody. This is so great. So right now,
I got to get all wet.
We got to
let it happen.
This is great. So right now, that produced water, as black as it can be with all the chemicals in it, your company, Committed Water, takes and breaks that apart and turns it into cleaner than drinking water, everybody.
Yeah, and I don't want there to be a miscommunication on what we're doing here. That is not chemical-laden water necessarily. That's not necessarily your flowback water fresh out of a well. These are old wells that are producing that created that water there. Everywhere in the state, our water is going to be different.
Yeah.
And every set of water circumstances is completely different. What we're shooting for as a company is to be able to take water that looks like that, or the water that candidly comes out of a flowback scenario where it's already pretty darn clean, and reuse it rather than dispose of it. The goal here from my perspective, as well as what Governor Stitt has made one of his priorities, what the OCC has saw fit to permit, and what the Water Resource Board is working towards making kind of a universally accepted tradition here, is making it so we can reuse it, so we can put it out on the ground in an ag setting and grow food, grow something that'll be meaningful for the future.
That's amazing. Hey, everybody. Again, I'm with Gianni Giannandrea. We're here to take a look at everything that Committed Water is about to be able to do for our oil and gas industry, support each other in our industry, everybody. We're very oil patch proud here, and we're doing Fossil Fuel Fridays for everybody. We're making sure to find people like Gianni and his company and let everybody else know about it. Mavericks in the oil field, innovators, people that are looking toward the future of what our industry is going to be able to do for each other.
Get rained on.
Get rained on. September in Oklahoma, everybody, isn't a really cool time of year, so this is really nice to have a little bit of relief from that. How are you going about taking this out to locations and setting this up?
So the novel part of this system that so far as we know, we're the only ones doing, is we have a fully mobile platform.
Fully mobile.
So we show up, we need about 100 by 100 pad site. That's essentially any pad in the oil field. But we will show up, we'll hook up a few pipes. Within 3 to 4 hours, we should be processing water. We can either set up with electric power through a 3-phase system, or we'll bring out a diesel genset, and we'll set up and process water. And at the end of the day, like we said, all water is different, and it may change our cut. You know, we expect to be somewhere in the averages of 80% going to the ground and 20% going downhole still. That 20% going downhole is part of what we're going to have to live with for now until we find a way to really break that out and solidify it economically.
That's a lot of water you're saving from going in the ground, though. Yeah. This is more efficient. It's cheaper for the operators.
So on that note, when the founder, Chuck, brought this to me, this probably 2 years ago, we started talking about it. And by no means was I thinking I was going to be a part of the ownership structure or the management team. And he showed me the concept, and I told him that it's great, and I love a good EFT story, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't save me money, I'm not going to do it, right? And then he started walking me through the cost structure and where he thought we could get, and it got my attention. Right now, I can rig this up on my site in southeast Oklahoma, process produced water, or process, especially in a flowback scenario where you have large volumes, and I can do it cheaper by far than you can haul water, and nearly a break even for what people are going to spend to pipe and dispose.
A break even for how much you're going to pipe and dispose of.
But I think from operator's standpoint, or from my standpoint as an operator, the worst thing I can do with my money is invest in a system that my investors don't care about, right? So I can put $7-8 million into a saltwater system, and I can show them that I'm saving money in the long haul, and I can amortize it over 15 years, or I can take that money, drill a new well, and put this water on the ground and grow a crop. To me, I likened it to trickle-down economics to some extent, because instead of taking the molecule out of the river, using it to create an output of energy, and then putting it down a hole to never be seen again, I'm able to take that molecule and then put it back on the ground and reuse it again.
Man.
And so it's a little bit different than straight recycling in that I don't have to transport it.
Yep.
So what I'm removing here is the transport cost. I was told off camera to turn, so I'm back.
Turning, everybody. Hey, thank you, everybody. I'm going to get off here now and let Ken take over.
So how much water can you guys EFT and actually perform each day? So right now our throughput with our current unit should be in the 5 to 7,500 range, depending on the water, depending on the quality that we start out at. Now, what I want folks to understand is our current unit is kind of our beta model. So our current unit, what we'll do is we will take it out to a site like we're on now, We'll rig it up, and we'll see what we get. We'll see what that water processes at.
Get your base level.
Yeah, so what's our transient time? What does it take to get it broken? What does it take to get to the standards we want to achieve? And then right now we're building our next 3 units that are all double the output capacity with the same footprint.
So how long does it take to get yourself like a base going once you get everything kind of set up? Like once you get to a location, about how long does it take to get your base go?
So I would like to say that we'll take, 2 to 3 days. That's what I'd like to say. Now, I've been a company for 45, and so far I haven't done it in 3 to 5 days, right? It's going to take a little longer right now as we get the process started. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the reason this is such a big deal is because nobody else has it.
Amen.
The downside is I don't have a user's manual. So I'm kind of working our way through it. Now, right now, we're getting an output that's good and not great, and we've got line of sight on great and even better. So that's where we're targeting.
Perfect. All right. So in a year's time, how much water, clean water, can 1 unit produce?
So Ken, theoretically, because we haven't been in operations for a year, but the units we're building right now have the throughput of clean water capacity that could supply 600 acre feet annually. That's 100,000 bushels of corn. Or the caloric value, if you just take that corn and turn it into calories, that's the caloric value for 12,500 people in 1 year.
Good Lord,
so
that's amazing.
The kicker to all this, right, is that's kind of the, all right, what if we used every drop? What if we did, okay, let's check. But I think the kicker here is if you're a big company in Oklahoma, you have the opportunity right now. If you're, let's say you're an S&P 500 company and you want to show that you're doing something different.
Yeah.
You come out and you go, hey, we brought out this system. We're irrigating with warm water so we can grow darn near year round. We're providing fresh fruits and vegetables for the homeless shelter in Oklahoma City. And instead of creating earthquakes, we're feeding people.
Oh, man.
There's a lot of advantage to what we can potentially do with this water.
That's massive. And take that, for instance, and you're coming from the operator side. Tell us a couple of things about that. Like, what are you seeing operators on average being able to produce water? Are they past that? Or y'all, it sounds like y'all are going past, above and beyond what they can even produce that you can actually clean.
So in some cases, I think you're right. There's a lot of cases where I cannot max out the next machine I'm building, especially on like a flowback site, right? If I show up to a 3-well pad, you're not going to pull them hard enough to fill that machine.
Wow.
But the flip side of that is that there's a lot of people who are looking at drilling a lot of pads because we're all on infills now. So you line me up and you let me work for the first 90 days of flowback, and regardless of the volume you put out, I'm able to process it. Because at the end of the day, the reason this system that we have currently isn't sufficiently what I want to take to market is because I want to build enough redundancy that I never have to turn off. I want to be able to shut down half of the system and still outrun your wells.
Wow. That's awesome, guys. Actually going to outrun the wells. That's huge. Absolutely huge.
Yeah. Guys,
I can't even say enough about that.
You were saying about how it's big for the U.S., how it's big for energy. What I think is really cool, we're out here in Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma is, generally speaking, not known as innovation leaders when you think of a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm from California. My friends are like, you live in Oklahoma? Well, the great part about Oklahoma is we're the only state right now who has a governor and a corporation commission and a water resource board who has stepped up and said, we're tired of the status quo. We're not going to waste our water. We're going to improve drought conditions. We're going to help ag. And we're going to do something with this volume of water that we have. I think the last stat from 2017 was 6 billion barrels of water disposed of in Oklahoma and Texas in a year. That volume of water is so staggering. And obviously it's spread out, right?
Sure.
But how many farmers would tell you, I know my family's from ag also, and everyone I talked to in the Central Valley of California said, look, we are never limited by soil. We're never limited by sunshine. We're limited by water.
Oh,
well, let's give them water. Let's give these farmers water and see where we end up as a state.
Okay, I'm going to take this a little farther. Okay, so we're talking within our borders. We're talking about us farm guys.
Yeah.
Big picture. Do you see this going outside of our borders?
Yeah, I think it has to. Insofar as energy independence depends on us figuring out how we're going to make use of every product, right?
Amen.
Right now, as a country, we were able to move up in $70+ oil into the world's #1 energy producer, but that's going to fall off pretty quick if we can't figure out how to save money on a per barrel, per MCF basis. And water right now is one of our biggest hurdles across the board.
Absolutely.
I think the Miss Line would have been pretty happy had I had this available about 3 years ago.
Yes, they would. And I see this even going to other countries. I see this going to third world countries.
Sure.
And so, yeah, definitely. Speak on that. I'm excited, guys. Not even going to lie. I'm excited. Excited. Serious.
So a funny story, and it's anecdotal. There was a gentleman from Nigeria who came out, and he's part of a service company. They're based in Houston. They do a lot of work in Nigeria. This gentleman's from Nigeria, born and raised. He came out and he walked from tank to tank, and he looked in the dirty tank, and he nodded his head, and he walked over and he looked in the clean tank, and he kind of stood up, and then he walked back down, and this is no lie here, like this dude starts crying a little bit.
No.
And he was like, man, water is all we need. Like, water is the building block, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to tell you, this does not solve world hunger, right?
Sure.
This doesn't solve the folks who have dysentery due to unclean water, because I just don't have the capacity yet. But the idea that Oklahoma has said we're not going to waste water, the idea that we have a machine that we can take internationally and eventually clean other people's water,
Yes.
the idea that somebody's going to come behind us and hopefully either improve this machine
Yeah.
or create one even better. And look, do I want to make money on this? Absolutely. My investors need me to monetize and generate a profit. But all of them agreed when we first talked this over. I said, look, my goal is to get you paid back, get you a multiple, so that you never talk to me again when I go to other places and help people who need it.
Amen.
And everybody's on board. I think that's the avenue that we should all be chasing.
We're talking to you, investors, talking to you. This is an opportunity, great opportunity.
Yeah, and actually, investor-wise, I think we're pretty well set up right now. What we're trying to do is get the word out through stuff like this, and thank you guys very much for having me. But to get the customers lined up, because as an operator myself, I was ready to put it out the day I saw it, and I think seeing is believing. This water was dirty a minute ago.
Yes, and now straight from over there to here, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Excellent. All right, so tell us what your pie in the sky, big picture, what is your goal? What do you see? What do you see?
If I was going to just write the script right, and then I had my own way, I would love to see these rigged up on current infrastructure. Okay. I'd like to see a partnership with big greenhouses through, OSU outreach, ag programs, or private companies.
Great program.
And I want to see, us creating vegetable gardens in places where the oil field is left. As the oil field comes into your town, I think we all know, we see the new Ford F-150 show up. All the ranchers are excited. Everybody gets their surface damage money. And then the oil field rolls out. And then they're going, man, I'd love them to come back. Well, the hope is that we can leave them with a little more lasting ag presence and hopefully create an environment where places like, Restore Hope or the Oklahoma Food Bank get fresh vegetables from the oil field.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah, there's commercially available water, right? And that's what everybody needs.
Amen. Man, that's great. All right. So as we wrap up, finish up talking to our guys here, talking to everybody out there, what is a final word you'd like to say? I know you got some inspiration for this speech, so let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Oh, I will say, I sent Matt an email, and it makes me laugh because right after we closed on this deal, my wife and I were watching a Joe Rogan stand-up, and for some reason, I guess I was the only one who hadn't seen it, right? Joe Rogan's triggered, and he says it, and he's like, we don't have a water problem, we have a salt problem. He's talking about, we have all the water we need, it's just nasty. Obviously he wasn't talking about Oklahoma, but specific to Oklahoma, I think we've been really fortunate in that the OCC paved the way for this to happen. The OCC has recognized that 3 years ago we were the earthquake capital of the U.S., and they've made some positive changes. We aren't booming right now, but I know we're going to boom again. And when we do, we have a framework in place with this company and whoever follows this company to set up and not have that become an issue, to set up and reuse Earth's most precious resource. Right from the get-go, we'll take that molecule and we'll put it back and grow something.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and let's save money doing it. Let's all win.
Well, hey, on behalf of all the Fossil Fuel Fridays, Matt, come say hi to us. We want to thank you very much. This is awesome. You guys got something great. Guys, say hi to Matt. He did an amazing job.
Oh, you're leaving me. You're leaving me. Thanks, everybody.
We're going to scan past one more time, guys. Check this out.
Look how wet that hair
From
gets.
here
That's beautiful. I wish I had that
to
hair
here, to there, to there. Guys, absolutely amazing. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Fossil Fuel Fridays. Make sure you support the oil and gas industry. They're the ones who make sure your lights are on. Guys like this. Also, your water's fresh.
Like it, share it, send it with everybody. Get the word out.
Yeah. Thanks, Boone.
Oh,
I appreciate it.
yeah, you the same.
The industry needs to be able to use fresh water better. And if we take it out of a river or a pond or a lake here on surface water, we need to put it back. And I think that's where we all want to go, and this is the best chance we have right now to get there. You can see the sprinklers going in the background, the ones that got us wet earlier while we were playing. That is produced water after the machine going out on the ground.
That's amazing. Guys, I just wanted to make sure you guys go to Committed Water's website, find out everything you can about what we're doing here. They're taking produced water and cleaning it, and you can take it out and put it anywhere on the ground. The OCC's behind you guys. The whole industry's behind a technology like this.
Yeah.